Hey everyone, welcome to the Wisconsin Whistle. I'm your host, Dan Vachalek, aka Dyhard. Got a packed show today. I'm going to be talking a lot of Bucks basketball. They had a game yesterday, lost. Game Saturday, lost, but they did beat the Jazz and they did beat the Heat since last week. Also, there's a big story going on with the Wisconsin women's basketball team and their head coach, so we'll get into that. Talk a little bit about the NBA All-Star game coming up. The Buck is going to be involved in the dunk contest this year that we haven't seen in a long time, or I don't even know if ever. We also have an All-Star in Giannis. We're also going to talk a little bit about Marquette. So stay tuned. We have a packed show. Hey everyone, welcome to the Wisconsin Whistle. I'm your host, Dan Vachalek, aka Dyhard. We got a packed show today. I'm going to be talking about the Bucks. Yesterday, the Bucks really looked bad. They first quarter had some good offense going. Defense couldn't stop anything. And it resulted in a loss. Chris Middleton is awful, terrible. You can't have a guy you're paying $31 million play that poorly. We'll get into that more so. Jimmy Butler, I saw some rumors going on. He could be coming to Milwaukee. We'll see what's going on with that situation. Bradley Beal will not be coming to Milwaukee unless something different happens. I don't foresee anything different happening here. Weird situation with the Wisconsin women's basketball team and their coach. A couple people came out and said some allegations about her. We'll get into that. I'll give you some thoughts on that. I want to get a quick word from our sponsors first, and then we'll jump right into the Bucks because there's just a lot going on. They played 4 games, went 2 for 2 in the past week. Right after that New Orleans game that they missed, postponed. It was postponed, and they will be playing, I believe, in like March or April. So they rescheduled that game. It's on my Twitter. Rescheduled that game. They also rescheduled 2 games. They flip-flopped them from the Warriors and the Lakers, I believe. So got a lot to get into. Thank you for tuning in as always. You're listening to the Wisconsin Whistle on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
IE Sports Radio fans, this show is brought to you by Planet Jerky Premium Brisket Beef Jerky. Planet Jerky is the official jerky of the 2022 California League champion Lake Elsinore Storm, single A affiliate of the San Diego Padres. This all brisket jerky has gluten-free options, contains no MSG, no sodium nitrate, is low in sugar, and high in protein. Go to their website at planetjerky.net and follow them on Instagram at Planet Jerky. Planet Jerky, the jerky that's on a whole other planet.
rise and shine. It's 4 a.m. The stars are still out. The sun is beneath the horizon, but it's time to punch in and go to work. The comfort of your warm-ups turns into the grinding out of your reps as the clinking and the clanking of the plates create a symphony of euphoria. There's no other feeling like it. Earn it, burn it, and take what's yours. IE Sports Radio has proudly partnered with Vital Apparel, a brand that not only fits great, but also promotes and donates to mental health research. Use our code IESR to get 15% off their comfortable and inspiring gym wear and help them on their amazing journey to support mental health. Go hard, take part in your iron therapy, and be strong. Because when your mental health is as strong as you are, there's no telling how far you'll go.
Hey there, IE Sports Radio fans. Be sure to check out our sponsor, Seal the Deal Wax Seals by Cecilia B. You just finished your very own wedding or baby shower invitations and you're looking for that extra special touch? Maybe you just wrote a letter to a relative or a friend and you want to add to their smile when they receive it. Then seal the deal with Cecilia's handmade sealing wax stamps for your invitations, letters, and gifts. You bring the deal, we'll bring the seal. You can find them on Instagram at sealthedeal_wax stamps and on Facebook, Seal the Deal Wax Seals.
For the last 10 years, IE Sports Radio has been bringing you amazing content ranging from interviewing legendary athletes, coaches, and other authorized media personnel to building tailor-made shows dedicated to all major sports cities around the country. Make sure to follow us at IE Sports Radio on X, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and YouTube to keep up with the latest in sports and with all of our shows. Also, make sure to check out our daily updated website at iesportsradio.com. At iesportsradio.com, you can see our daily show schedule and check out all of our show pages with personal bios to learn a little bit more about each of our awesome hosts. In addition to our show pages, you can catch the IE Sports Radio blog, Hall of Fame, Fans of the Month page, and our merchandise shop including t-shirts, tank tops, caps, long sleeves, hoodies, and more. For now over a decade here at IE Sports Radio, we've continued to be by the fans, for the fans, and we thank you all for your support and for making IE Sports Radio your direct feed for all that is sports.
All right, everyone. That was just a quick sponsorship from our great partners at IE Sports Radio. All the information to follow us is down below here, so just check it out, all those spots. Also, you can follow me at Dyhard, at Wisconsin Whistle on Twitter, and then our main account, which I'll throw up here at the bottom. So those 3 accounts you can follow me at on those 2, and the IE Sports Radio is our main account. So I want to jump right into the Bucks. Last show was Wednesday. The game was postponed in New Orleans because of all that snow. They had another game against the Heat, delayed about an hour. Rough time trying to get in on time, pushed them back a little bit. But they came out a little slow. Second quarter, third quarter, they took off, dominated against the Heat. And they were actually pushed off TNT to True TV, which isn't a surprise. I think I saw a stat like 3 of the last 5 games on TNT against the Heat, the Bucks have been pushed off of TNT, which is pretty impressive. However, Chris Middleton did not play that game. And you could see a difference in the offense with him not on the floor. It flowed, it moved. They were able to create shots, pass the ball, just looked a lot better. It looked like they flowed, comfortable. It was overall a lot better. Defense, they stood in front of their mans. The perimeter defense played pretty well, I'd say. Just overall a better game by the entire team. Now, against the Clippers, we saw a loss. James Harden had 40 points. Norman Powell had, I think, 33 or 32 points. Chris Middleton did not score in 19 minutes. Looked terrible on defense. Couldn't stand in front of his guy. 4 fouls. Just bad performance. Again, 0 points. He's making $31 million a year. 0 points. He's going to be a tough sell if he has games like that. That was his second scoreless game this year. The other one was against the Magic. Now, they beat the Jazz. Everyone looked great. I mean, literally everyone looked great. 92 combined points. Middleton had 22 points at 77% shooting. Entire team shot over 60%. Big Three shot over 60%. Entire team as a team, they shot 61. I just want to make sure that's corrected because I don't know if, some players shot under or whatever, but Big Three shot over 60. Giannis and Dame both had, I believe, 35. So they looked very good out there. Chris Middleton was hitting mid-range shots. Defense looked a little better. He looked up to speed. Not really sure where that came from. He's got a history of being a hot and cold, streaky player. Some games he comes out great. Other games he comes out, you don't know who replaced him or what happened to Chris Middleton. Last night, however, Chris Middleton did not score. In the first quarter alone, he had 3 fouls, all because he could not guard his man. He could not stay in front of him. He tried to play defense with his hips. That's unacceptable. Avdija, I don't really know how to pronounce his name, Avdija. I mean, he just throttled us, completely throttled us. And the thing about it that I heard on the broadcast is that he watches film, he talks with his coaches and says, hey, what do we need to work on this game so that we can win? And apparently they said bad perimeter defense, force it into the paint, drive, force fouls. And that's what he did. And he got Middleton a couple times. Middleton did not look like he had any speed at all. Time has really passed him by. You can't play a game and do nothing for 15, 20 minutes a game. He had 1 rebound, 1 assist, 0 points. I believe it was the third quarter. It was the second half. Middleton was kind of running around. I don't know what he was doing, but he was running around. Got a ball at the three-point line and just threw up a shot. It was a brick. It was an awful shot, and that was his only 3-point attempt of the game. I don't know what he's doing on the floor anymore outside of the game against the Jazz, but it is the Jazz. This was a game I felt like we really needed to win, and I'm not going to take Dame off the hook either. You had 2 quick threes in the first quarter. Then you didn't make another 3. You had 20 points, which was fine, but I expect a little more from Dame playing against Portland, the team that he requested a trade out of, to prove like, hey, this is what you guys are missing out on. But he didn't do that. Now, the Bucks with Middleton is not going to work on defense. You can see just how the team plays. They're a little off. Their offense isn't flowing as well. The perimeter defense, while it's been bad this year, I believe I'd have to look through. I'll probably get to it a little later, but I think they're like 9th worst or 3rd worst in the NBA. Their perimeter defense is terrible. And having Middleton there is not making it any better. He can't move. I don't know if his knees, ankles, combination, what it is, but he really cannot move, guard, stay in front of the ball. I mean, that's all we ask is you stay in front, keep a balance. I could stand up and show you, but you have to, keep a balanced front, stay in front of your guy, side shift back to back. He just doesn't do that. He plays defense with his hips. some people are saying on Twitter, oh, those are questionable calls. Oh, those aren't fouls. Wow, the NBA is soft. Well, you know what? The refs called it. So depending on who the refs are or how the game's getting called, that's how you have to play. And there's a lot of plays where refs miss things. There's a lot of ticky-tacky things as well. But if you're throwing your hips into the ball handler, that's getting called. 9 times out of 10, that's getting called. Yeah, they might miss some, but that's getting called. You cannot play defense like that. So to continue to do that, and you're making $31 million a year, I don't really know any team that's going to say, yes, let me get him. We could improve on that. No, you're not. There's no benefit to this. Last night, watching Avdija score 30 points, and a lot of them were in the second half. I mean, once the Trailblazers pulled away, Avdija was making threes in people's faces. Middleton, he could have been on the floor. He could have been off the floor. It didn't matter. Avdija was making shots. He was driving. He was playing the same game the entire time, and the Bucks could not stop anything at all. Lopez even was on him and put a hand in his face. Still, boom, right in, made it. The Bucks just couldn't recover after falling like how they did. Now, I got to talk about this because it was on Twitter by a lot of Bucks fans last night, and this is a Wisconsin show. So we have to talk about what the fans were talking about on Twitter, and I saw this constantly from a lot of people, was Giannis is a ball hog. Giannis needs to play team defense, team offense, play like a team. We should bench Giannis because of how bad of a ball hog he is. Who does he think he is? Kobe Bryant, It was a lot of Giannis hate, and this energy needs to be directed not at Giannis. You could have even directed it at Dame, and we would have been all okay with that, somewhat, but pretty okay with it last night. But not directed it at the third highest paid player on the team, not directed it on someone who's supposed to be part of the big three, not directed it on other players who were also playing poorly, but you're directing it on the superstar who had almost 40 points. He had 39, shot 70% from the field, 70.8% from the field to be exact. And you're putting blame on him? This is outrageous. That's why I want to spend a little time talking about this, because it makes no sense at all. 31.7 points per game, second in the NBA behind Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Fifth in rebounds per game at 12.2. It averages 5.8 assists per game. The Bucks would be Toronto. They would be Charlotte. They would be Brooklyn, who unfortunately is a team we can't beat either for some reason. The Bucks might even be as bad as Washington, who has 6 wins on the year, if Giannis didn't touch the floor. If Giannis was on a different team, we would be with Dame. Do you remember the times when Dame was in Portland and they were a fringe playoff team? That was a better team than what the Bucks, I think, have overall, because you wouldn't have Giannis doing what he was doing. The Bucks were in this game last night because Giannis went 8 for 8 on field goals in the first quarter, had 16 points, basically dominated in the first quarter from the jump, was getting boards. Nobody else was getting boards, it seemed like. There was a time where DeAndre Ayton, had 3 offensive rebounds on the same possession. I mentioned it, I think, once or twice on Twitter from both accounts. It seemed like the Trailblazers had more offensive rebounds than defensive rebounds because the Bucks just wouldn't crash the board. That's been a problem a lot this year, and it's understandable because the Bucks don't have the speed. You have Lopez, who's 38, 39 years old, isn't fast. He's 7'1", he's aging. We get it. Giannis isn't the fastest guy either, but he can move up and down, and he's still crashing boards on defense. On defense. Portis. I mean, you have some players. Dame had 2 triple-doubles back-to-back games against the Heat and the Clippers. So, people are crashing the boards. But what I was seeing last night was just, the offense was they miss a shot. They're getting the layup or the rebound and putting the layup back in. you're not going to win a game like that, especially when you can't stop another team from driving or at the perimeter. It's not going to happen. And Chris Middleton really deserves a lot of this focus and attention from the Bucks fans, media, Twitter. So he ran cardio last night, had fouls, liability, looked forced, uncomfortable. You could put a lot of different words that would describe how Chris Middleton and the Bucks offense looked. I actually made a mention on Twitter. I can't remember which account. I'll bounce back and forth from accounts when I'm live tweeting games or talking about the games and stuff. But there was a couple possessions where Chris Middleton was on the floor, and it looked like he was over trying. Like he was really putting in a lot of effort to try to get open or do something. And it was just not, it just looked weird. It looked super weird. It looked forced. Speaking of speaking of Middleton, I guess I don't want to really just drag him through the mud, but I have to talk about what we're seeing and the factual information that's going on and just the poor play that is costing games, costing wins, costing the Bucks a lot right now. So against the Clippers in the second quarter, Damian Lillard had the ball up top, and Middleton was getting guarded by Nick Batum. And he's trying to get to the three-point line to get the ball. He cannot get around him, cannot get through him. It just looked like he had no idea how to get around. Like he had no idea what he was doing. Bucks passed the ball, kind of reset. Middleton was able to sit at the three-point line and get the ball after Nick Batum kind of bounced off him a little bit. Soon as Middleton got the ball, Batum pressured him on. Middleton could do nothing. Couldn't get around him, tried, couldn't do anything, and the ball skirted away, gone, turnover. That's a problem. Middleton was not like that. He used to be a quality mid-range shooter like we saw against the Jazz. He had his mid-range jumping. He moved around. He shot 77% against the Jazz. He facilitated. That's what we expect from Middleton almost every game. Yes, your minutes are diminished a little bit, but that doesn't mean that your role has diminished, especially when you're on the floor with Dame and Giannis. You should be working towards getting back on the floor and being a starter, putting in quality minutes. Nobody, even reporters, I'm not sure the team even knows if he has a minutes restriction still, but all we know is that he's coming from the bench, and that's because of these last two games that were on display where you put him in the starting lineup or put him with quality minutes or a lot of minutes, he's not going to perform. You have a large liability. And while I was saying in the preview that Jimmy Butler could be on the way, I saw a couple rumors that were saying Portis, Middleton are on the way to Miami. But what advantage does Miami get from gaining Middleton? What advantage does Miami get from gaining Portis and Middleton? I don't know what advantage any team gets from gaining Chris Middleton. $31 million a year, which is very large. He has off-season surgery every year. You're going to miss games from him every year. He has minutes restriction every year. And if he can't guard opponents, especially with the league that's getting younger, the youngest team in the league are the Thunder, and they're one of the best teams in the league that's going to compete for an NBA championship this season. And Chris Middleton can't guard players. You're not going to win. It's not advantageous. It's not a benefit. Yeah, they get rid of Butler, he just was suspended again. He walked out of a team practice because they told him he won't be in the starting lineup anymore. So he walked out, and he just recently said he's unemployed. Yeah, they want to get rid of him, but I'm going to exchange it for Chris Middleton. That's the best that I could do. That's silly. It's just silly. There was a couple other things too. I hope everything gets better with Bobby Portis and his family situation. They've been kind of vague about it. I'm not sure if his absence has really impacted the Bucks as much as we think. We hope. But I hope everything gets better for him. So, take his time and get back, get your family situated. But there was a couple problems, with a couple other players. Gary Trent Jr., 3 of 10 from 3, 11 points in 27 minutes. Dame was 2 of 6 from 3, had 20 points. You come to Portland, Dame, why aren't you shooting? Shoot threes. That should be reversed. You should be 6 of 10 from 3. You should have 12 threes. I mean, just keep shooting threes. You're good at those. That's what you used to do in Portland. You're back on Portland's floor. You're comfortable there. Shoot threes. Just shoot them. I have no problem with Dame firing up threes. That's what you do. You're like Steph Curry, but a different type of player. And you shoot long-distance threes. Just shoot them. You had only 2 threes in the first quarter on back-to-back possessions, and you didn't make another one after that. This is a revenge game for you. Man, come out there, really get your revenge, even if you don't have a personal vendetta or there's no hard feelings. Man, treat it like a revenge game because that's the narrative. There was a pass from Gary Trent Jr. to Pat Connaughton. It was a lob, alley-oop, and Pat caught it, kind of looked like he stumbled as he was catching it in the air and threw up a layup. And Pat is not how he used to be. But it was still a good play. It's fun watching Pat in there a little bit, Pat Connaughton. He's just not what he used to be, though. And I'll get back to him in a little bit when I talk about exactly who the Bucks have put on the trade deadline. They want to trade Bobby Portis, Chris Middleton, Pat Connaughton. Those 3 have been open. Any team can make an offer, put together a package for those 3, maybe combine them with somebody else. I know Giannis and Dame are completely off limits. AJ Green should be off limits. I think that's it. I think those are the only 2 players that should be off limits right now. I'd keep Andre Jackson Jr. His defense is fantastic. I love watching him play. If he added a 3-point shot, his offense would be dangerous. But those 3, Pat, Chris, Bobby, they're on the trading block. They're open. That was announced. But the thing that the Bucks need, though, is people in the paint. Like I said, there was the offensive rebounds from Portland was awful. It was like, I don't know why we kept seeing that over and over and over again, where they would miss a shot, and here's Portland getting the rebound and putting it right back in. There was a time where Portland just kept scoring every single play every possession that they had, continuously. Score. You can't win like that. There was even a time in, I believe, the second quarter when they showed the huddle and Doc Rivers talking on TNT broadcast last night, and Doc said, you guys are scoring. You're putting up the points. You need to make a stop, force a turnover. You can't win games. Just keep allowing teams to score. And that was kind of like against the Clippers as well. They couldn't stop anything on defense. They let guards getting past defenders continuously. The Clippers dominated the paint, scoring 58 points in the paint. The Bucks only scored 40. And it was the same thing against Portland with Avdija running through everyone, either drawing fouls, which he did significantly in the first quarter, first half, or him driving, pumping it out for a 3 or pumping it around dumping it off to somebody. He dumps it back to Avdija, and then he dumps a 3 in. You can't win games when your perimeter defense is lacking like that. You can't win games when other teams dominate the paint. Now, the other problem that I saw, and if I play 2K, I like to run the floor and move fast. A couple of years ago, the Bucks were good doing that. Just don't even think about it. There was a couple times where I watched Portland that were still running with the Bucks. They were running, but I noticed that they would run, and they would be okay. One time running down, but when the Bucks would push it again, when Portland would get the ball, they reset. They fake like they were running in and reset. And Avdija hit a three right in Lopez's face on one of them. There was another one, another three right in the face. There was another reset I saw where they kind of ran in, dumped it out to the corner, dumped a three. And the Bucks just are out of control when they move super fast. It just looks like they're all over the place. They're running way too fast towards the basket. Their layups are firing off the backboard. It just looks out of sorts. They don't look comfortable. They look rushed, fast-paced. There's never anything wrong with pulling up, going to the rim. If you got a clear lane, go ahead. If not, dump it out, push it out and reset. Get everyone lined up, maybe run a play or something, get a pick and roll going, but keep forcing the ball over and over and over and over again, super fast-paced like you're the Warriors or, like everyone's 25 and super nimble and speedsters. You're not going to win games like that. You're going to be out of sorts, turnovers, bad shots. Just slow down. Just slow down a little bit. You have to control the pace of the game while you're on offense. And if you don't control the pace and let the game dictate your pace, you're going to be out of control. Turnovers are going to fly through. Perimeter, you won't be able to play defense like that. You're constantly going to be in 4-on-3s, 3-on-1s, whatever. And then you're going to run down the floor and try to force it really fast. Be all out of sorts. Giannis can move a little bit. And he could rush towards the basket, but he still has to be in control a little bit. There was a couple times where he lost the ball. There was a couple times where he had an offensive foul on him. I felt like it was ticky-tacky, but again, they called it. Nothing you could do. But he's even out of control, moving fast. Dame can move a little fast, but he's still, again, without other support and everything. The fast pace is kind of, a hindrance. Just slow it down, reset. And that was a big thing that I noticed that I don't know if other people noticed while watching the game, but that was something I really noticed is as soon as the Bucks move fast, that's when they was out of control, up turnover, ball off someone's foot, out of bounds, layup, shot, rocketed off the backboard. Just slow it down. That's all they got to do. Slow it down, get everything going. You'll be good to go. Against the Heat, I didn't really see too much of like super fast-paced moving. When they did, though, they kicked out threes, and that was super nice to see. There's a lot of good shots, ball movement, protected the ball. That was the big thing that I think the Bucks really need to do is protect the ball and limit turnovers. Their defense isn't great. I have a stat here. I'm going to read it. The Bucks are last in offensive rebound percentage at 24%, and that's by a good, hefty margin. Bucks are ninth in net rating at +3, eighth in defensive rating at 110.8, 12th in offensive rating, 113.8. That defensive rating doesn't tell the whole story, as we've seen. Sometimes they can stop everybody and they play very good defense. Other times they don't stop anything and their defense looks like they left it in Milwaukee or left it on the plane or left it at practice. Another one is pace. The Bucks are 11th in pace. They have 100.1 possessions per 48 minutes. So those three stats, my sheet fell. Those three stats kind of have a little bit of a guideline to the Bucks overall team and what they need to do. But it doesn't tell a lot of the story. I feel like the offense is better than what it is. But the problem with the Bucks offense, especially against Portland, so let's take these sheets down. They keep falling. Against Portland, I'm actually going to pull up this because I noticed something interesting is Giannis got to the line 10 times. The rest of the team got to the line 8. The only person to miss free throws was Giannis, 5 of 10. And on the season, his free throw percentage let's see stats all, because his free throw percentage on the year is 58.3%. That's the worst by far in his career. By far. Last year, 65. Year before, 64.5. Year before that, 72. That was in 21-22. 68.5 in 2021. 63 is the worst that I see right here in 2019-2020. That's a big noticeable difference here that you're at 58.3%. I called him Shaq at the free throw line last night multiple times. I'm scared that teams are going to start doing hack-a-Shaq on him, because you put him at the line, it's awful. He's really bad. I mean, he was 0 for 4, 0 for 5 last night at one point. He did start making some, but I mean, you're really reaching Shaq territory. In his 19 seasons, he had a 52.7% free throw percentage made. 52%. Giannis this year is at 58. I don't see a difference. And you let Giannis get to this line continuously, you're going to be in a lot of trouble here, and he's not going to get the scoring points. He's not going to be the leader this year in scoring. He's going to cost the Bucks games. Against Portland, 5 of 10. Against Utah, even though they won, 3 of 10. Against the Clippers, he had a good game, 12 of 15. Against Miami in their win, 5 of 10. Against Philly in their win, 8 of 14. There was 2 games. Actually, just in 2025 alone, he has a game of 3 for 10, another one of 3 for 10, 4 for 10 in that blowout to the Knicks, 5 of 10, 3 of 10, and 5 of 10. And we'll throw in 8 of 14, which was 57% as well. Actually, let's throw in the Toronto game, 11 of 18. That's really, really detrimental to an organization that you can't make free throws. I mean, I know that there used to be this thing where he took, 20 seconds, 12 seconds. People counted it every time we played it on the road, counted his free throws, got up to 12 seconds, 15 seconds. All the fans were crying. But this year is just not good on free throws. And, yeah, he might be a little quicker. I don't know times on it, but 58% is not good. He averages 6.3 to 10.8. So he's almost averaging 11 free throws a game when he's making 6. If the Bucks aren't getting to the line like last night, you need those points. There was a time in the fourth quarter where if Giannis had scored all of his free throws, the Bucks would have had a lead by 1 or 2 points. And then, that changes the entire way of playing the game. They kick Portland makes a 3. Now it's 2 points. You're down 2 points. You could shoot a 3, and now you're back up 1. You could play around. I don't know what just happened on the screen. Something's popping up. But you could play around, and you could have – sorry about that. Things are clicking on my screen. That's kind of concerning. But where was I at here? With Giannis's free throws, you have to make those. It changes the entire point of the game. Like I was saying, they were down 1 point or up 1 point if Giannis had made all of his free throws in the game late in the fourth quarter. Instead, they're down 6 points, down 4 points, whatever it is. And then it just continues. They make a 3, now it's 7. They make another 3, now it's 10. You just keep going down a rabbit hole of down farther and farther and farther points. Now, against Utah, this is something that I was really happy with. 52 total made baskets as a team. Middleton, Dame, and Giannis had 40. 35 points from Giannis. Dame at 35. Middleton 22. Bucks went on a 20-3 run late in the third quarter that really put the game away. The problem with their defense again came up against Utah, where Lopez, Giannis, Dame, they played a lot of minutes. I don't have. I thought I wrote it down, but I didn't. I wish I did. They all played a lot. Actually, I could just look that up. But they played a lot of minutes. And against Utah, that's really not the time that you need to have your players playing a lot of minutes, especially when you win the game by 15 points. Taurean Prince, 32 minutes. Giannis, 37. Lopez, 35. Damian Lillard, 41 minutes. Andre Jackson Jr., 26. Chris, 27 minutes. He played a lot. He played well, though, but he played a lot. And Gary Trent Jr., 27 minutes. So, Bucks did well. They didn't shoot well from 3, 35%. Shot better than Utah. But, again, that's Utah. And you should be having time to rest when you're playing against teams that are 10-34, when you're playing against teams that have 12 wins, when you're playing against the Wizards. You should have rest. You should allow your starters, your top players to get some rest, especially Lopez, who's older, especially Dame, Giannis. All your starters should be sitting and let the bench run in. You shouldn't have a whole lineup of 5-6 players on your bench that all say did not play coach's decision, especially against Utah. But I think the team did play very well, so it's really not a lot of negative. 18 rebounds from Giannis. Dame had 8 assists. He's been doing great with assists. One-on-one offensive matchups were limited. Complementary basketball. Middleton catch and shoot, mid-range. It just flowed super, super nice. And this is what I'm looking for from the Bucks. The glass being – they need to crash the glass, though. They need to play complementary consistently. Middleton has to show up consistently. That's just what it's going to do. I want to talk about Bradley Beal. I have some stats I wanted to talk about now, but I'm not. I'm just going to wait. I need to take a break, listen to a couple of our other shows, talk about them. So we'll jump to those. Then when we get back, we'll talk about this Bradley Beal, Jimmy Butler situation, the trading. I do want to say, though, quick note, I had to write this down because I wasn't going to be able to remember this at all. So Andre Jackson Jr. is going to be in the All-Star Dunk Contest. Stephen Castle from San Antonio, Matas Buzelis from Chicago, and multi-winner Mac McClung is going to be in as well as his opponents. Giannis was named a starter, but we have a new format. 3 teams of 8 compete against each other. So we're going to wait on February 6th. 10 reserves are going to be named. And then Kenny Smith, Shaquille O'Neal, and Charles Barkley are going to select the 3 teams. The 4th is going to be the NBA Rising All-Stars game. So there's going to be 4 teams competing against each other in like a tournament-style bracket. That's going to be the All-Star game this year. So the starters didn't really matter. They're just starters. They'll probably highlight their teams. So that's what we got look forward to. I don't know if anyone, maybe Dame. I'm pretty confident Dame's going to be an all-star reserve. Outside of that, it'll be Dame and Giannis once again. Hopefully they get teamed up again. But let's take a break, hear a couple messages, and we'll talk about the trade deadline and what we should expect coming up.
What's good, fight fans? It's your boy, Marcus Los Great, here to give you what you want, here to give you what you need. Yeah, man. Yeah. I'm coming to you live, straight from your mama's basement with a crispy, awesome white tea. They're coming to you live every Tuesday at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. powered by IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
Everybody, this is Taryn Rodriguez. Are you a fan of volleyball? Are you a fan of Thunder Spikes? Then I have the show for you, Set Point, where I cover NCAA men's and women's volleyball, high school boys and girls volleyball, beach volleyball, and even professional volleyball. Catch the action every week here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
All right, welcome back, everyone. Those are two great shows, so I recommend checking them out. You're listening to Wisconsin Whistle on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. Again, my name's Dan Vachalek. You follow me down here at Dyhard, or if you check the scrolling banner, Wisconsin Whistle, IESR, or IE Sports Radio is our main account. So last week I talked extensive time about Bradley Beal possibly coming to Milwaukee. How do I feel about that? All of that is now irrelevant. I wasted a lot of time talking about something that is not on the table, hasn't been on the table, and actually the Bucks aren't even close to it. So Bradley Beal said that he did not waive his no-trade clause, has not been approached about waiving his no-trade clause, and wanting to come to Milwaukee has not been talked about. The Milwaukee thing is they're far away. They haven't even talked about a trade. Milwaukee has not contacted Phoenix. Phoenix has not contacted Milwaukee. So Beal coming here in a 3-4 team trade or whatever it is not happening. Nobody really knows if Phoenix made those draft pick trades to try to get Jimmy Butler. I know that's a destination he wants to go to. I know that's something Phoenix wants to get done. Outside of that, is Beal involved? I don't know. Have they approached Beal about a trade that way? I don't know. But coming to Milwaukee is not, that's right now not on the table. I did see some stuff on Facebook and on Twitter. Now, relevancy, I don't know if is it legit or just, people want to type things into the computer and try to go viral. I don't know. But apparently the Bucks are going after Jimmy Butler. They said Chris Middleton and Bobby Portis could be in a trade for him. The only problem here is the Bucks don't have a draft pick until 2031 that they could trade. So it's January 29th, 2025. That's 6 years. 5 years and then 6. Nobody wants that. And if that's the best draft capital that you could do, that's bad. And you have a limited time with Giannis. You have a limited time with Dame and Giannis. Brook Lopez, a couple years. Chris Middleton looks like he's completely done. So that's the problem that the Bucks are facing. Middleton is making $31 million a year. The Bucks are third worst at guarding pick and roll ball handlers in the NBA. And Middleton's inconsistent, horrible on-ball defense, can't stay in front of anyone. Not the same anywhere on the floor. So Bobby Portis is also available for trade. When he's on the floor, he's putting up some of his worst numbers since he was a Chicago Bull. He holds onto the ball, it tries to create a shot, and he just throws the entire offense off, makes it stagnant. It's not looking good. I have a player option, I believe, that he has. I'm not sure what the player option is for, but according to reports that I've been reading, that's irrelevant because he's going to opt out of it, try to get some bigger money. So if a team trades for, let's say, Chris Middleton, Bobby, and let's say Pat, because they're all three available, they're going to get Bobby Portis for half a year. Is he going to be worth it? No. Is not communicating on defense and pick and rolls. Getting caught in picks. Just not looking good. Not crashing the board like how he should. Yes, he's scoring some points, but just his offensive numbers aren't as good as what we're used to be. I love Bobby. I really love Bobby. It's hard for me to talk bad about him, but he's just not somebody that teams are just jumping for joy or trying to really acquire, especially with this player option he's declining. Another thing that's kind of hindering this stuff is Pat Connaughton, $9.4 million player option. Who's going to pay that? Who? The Bucks? I pray they're not. I hope they're not. But I don't know any other team that's going to pay that. And if we don't trade Pat, he's going to jump in that player option. Bucks are going to be forced to pay that. So I really hope that he is on the move just for next year's money-wise. Shooting faded. He's not the same guy. He doesn't have the same hops. His defense is slow, lacking a step. Pat is not the same Pat that we're used to. Pat is a fun player, but he's not getting minutes like he used to. I mean, he's averaging 15 minutes on the season, but what is he, 32? Doesn't even seem that old, but 32 years old, just not doing the same, 4 points a game, 29% from three. He used to be the guy. I mean, he has got highlights where he dunked on LeBron. He's got highlights where he shot to the basket and played really well, and now he's not. 14 minutes against Portland with 4 points scored, 2 assists, 2 rebounds, a block. 3 points against Utah, none against the Clippers in 9 minutes. 2 points against Miami and 3 against Orlando. That's just not cutting it. He's really not doing a lot of things. Like I said, the Bucks are last at offensive rebound percentage, so that showed last night. And that's what they need to be going after for at the trade deadline, is getting someone that has a solid perimeter defense and someone that could crash the board and get offensive rebounds. Missing a shot and letting the opponent get the ball immediately and never getting second chance opportunities except 1 in 4, 1 in 5 shots. You're not going to win. It's a long shot for these three to go to Butler. Miami, they said that they dropped their asking price, so I don't blame him. Get him out of Miami. He clearly doesn't want to be there. He asked for a trade. You suspend him. Then you say, oh, yeah, we're going to try to fine him maximum amount of dollars, even higher, as he's being disruptive, as some other jargon that they were able to use to do this. And I don't know what happened to that. I didn't see if they actually fined him that super high amount. But they just keep suspending him. Walked out of a team shoot around. He was late to a flight. He just claimed himself unemployed. So he basically doesn't have a job, is what he's saying, even though he's employed by a team getting paid money. Go after him. I believe it was with either when he was with Minnesota or Philly, the Bucks went after him pretty hard and he didn't want to come, or they just couldn't work out a deal, basically. The logistics or the semantics of it, I don't remember, but Bucks couldn't get it done. Don't pass up this opportunity now. Butler, Giannis, and Dame, I think the Bucks could go to a championship. I think that's going to push them past the Celtics. That's going to push them past the Cavaliers in a 7-game series. Now, I don't think just in a 1 game it will, but in a 7-game series, it's going to definitely give them the opportunity. Jimmy's been going to the NBA championship game, leading Miami, and they don't really have help like that. He's blown past the Bucks. They win. Jimmy took the bench reserve guys, I believe in Minnesota, and whooped the starter's ass, and then said, yeah, I don't want to be here, and walked out, and then got traded. So maybe that was in Philly, but I think that was in Minnesota. So bring Jimmy Butler in. This man is a dog. He's going to mesh well with Dame. He's going to mesh well with Giannis. Bring him in. I don't care what it takes. Give him Lopez. Give him the 2031 draft pick. Give him more draft picks. Give him Chris, Pat, Bobby, Brooke. I don't care. Give him Trent Jr. Just get Chris off the team. Make sure he's in the package. He's going to have to be with his contract. But bring Jimmy Butler here, please. He played with Marquette. He's played in Milwaukee. Just bring Jimmy Butler here. I think the Bucks could really win, really get to the NBA championship with Butler. They already won the NBA Cup. That shows that they can beat top teams. I think they beat OKC to win it all. So bring Butler here. Do what you have to do. Miami keeps dropping the asking price. He's not going to play in Miami. Miami sure as shit doesn't want him there. So just send offers. You want these 3 players? Oh, here's more offers. That one doesn't work. What else is going to work? Annoy them to the point where they stop answering the phone or just say, F it, send them. Send them to Milwaukee. We'll take whatever. We'll just take it. That's what they need to do to win the NBA championship. Speaking of Marquette, they played against Butler last night, and the first half was very slow, super slow going. Not from a speed perspective, but from a performance perspective. And the second half looked a lot different. As soon as Cam Jones got in foul trouble with 10 minutes to go in the second half, I believe 15-5 run. Stevie Mitchell had 10 points. With 9:37 left to go in the game, Mitchell had 7 points. This is a 12-3 run. Butler ended up scoring, but Mitchell hit a corner 3 that really propelled the game into Marquette's hands and pushed them away. I saw a stat that, like, at some point around that time period was Butler was like 3 of 12 shooting or something in the second half. And it showed. I was trying to look that up. I probably didn't look hard enough, but I didn't see an exact number anywhere. The one thing I did see is 1 of 12 from 3 in the second half from Butler. So night and day play when they played against Butler. They completely shut them down on defense. They looked good on offense despite Cam Jones getting his 4th foul, have 4 fouls, being in foul trouble across the board for the Marquette team. And I think it was a nice test game, nice game to get your bad performance out before you have 2 tough matchups coming up. They're going to play UConn on Saturday, which is a very, very tough matchup. Even though UConn's top 25, they're 4th in the Big East. It's still a very tough matchup. Last year, that was the big team to beat. Year before, big team to beat. Marquette struggled to beat them last year, and I think this year, even though they did have some players move on, I think it's going to mean a whole lot to Marquette to come out there and beat UConn, to get a quality win going, and that's going to take jumping from the start. You're going to have to perform. Don't have that lackadaisical time where you let the opponent go on huge runs, and just consistent. You know, it's late January, going to be early February. Saturday is February 1st. It's getting time for March. March Madness is coming, a month away. It's time to kick it into high gear. It's time to prepare for a lot of tough opponents. You're going to have the Big East tournament coming up. You're going to have March Madness, the bracket coming up. And you don't want an early exit out of the March Madness bracket again. It's just going to kill and crush Marquette fans. It's going to kill and crush the program. You have Cam Jones, who's in the running for the top player of the year. Obviously, he's not going to get it because Cooper Flagg is on another level as a freshman. That he came in and he's outscoring what Zion Williamson did when he was at Duke. Cooper Flagg is going to be a number 1 draft pick. I mean, I would say hands down should be number 1 draft pick. How he's came in and played, completely propelled Duke. So that's going to be a very tough team to beat. I really hope we don't get in their bracket at all. I hope Marquette's able to get a 2 seed or 1 seed, but don't give us Duke's bracket, please. I'd rather face them in the championship game, but not anywhere before the championship game do I want to face Duke. Cam Jones actually was player of the week. Thought I had that. Oh, yes, I do. 17.5 points per game, 4 rebounds per game, 4.5 assists per game, 53.3 from the field, and Marquette was 2-0 in his award time. So Marquette plays UConn this week, has to win, and on Tuesday they play St. John's, the second-best team in the Big East, and that is a must-win game. Both are must-win games. You cannot lackadaisical. You cannot get in foul trouble. You cannot turn the ball over, and Marquette's been very good at turning the ball over, limiting turnovers. but you have to perform against these two teams. And these are going to be huge games for Marquette. So I'm confident. I think Stevie Mitchell is turning into, he's starting to get a lot of momentum going. Had a career high 22 last night. Cam Jones, again, player of the year, runner up here. They got to just keep it going. They have a lot of good players. I like Ben Gold down low. They have a lot of good players that they're going to have to really perform this weekend. Switching gears, keeping it with basketball. There was some news that came out earlier this week, I believe on Monday. Tessa Towers went public with allegations of mistreatment, misconduct, mental health abuse, emotional distress, a lot of things that she said about Marissa Mosley, the head coach at the Badgers. Just saying about Marissa Mosley, this isn't the first time she's been in the news. Last year, she had a press conference talking about diversity of the team and called a lot of players run-of-the-mill white kids, then said how she has players from other countries. During the second season, 3 assistants left. Scott Merritt went to Gardner Webb to be the head coach. Kate Barnowski, who was the assistant head coach at Wisconsin, left to be a D3 head coach. Why I mentioned that name and said it like that is because that's significant. So you're at a Big Ten program, a very big program. Wisconsin is big, even though they're not good at basketball on the women's side lately, or really they just haven't been in 10 plus years. But you're an assistant head coach at a Big Ten school, so you went to a D3 program to be the head coach at BAPSO. And then you had a coach that left completely, all the way across the board, stopped coaching. I don't know if they went to high school. I don't know if they're coaching their kids at middle school. I don't know if they, are coaching somewhere. But they left college coaching, WNBA, NBA, anything. They left coaching completely in Caroline Dottie. Mosley in her 4 years at Wisconsin, 112 career games, is 48-68, 18-45 in the Big Ten. They made the WNIT last in 2023-24. They made the Grade 8, which was the first appearance since 2011. And this year they're 10-10, 1-8 in conference. Basically what happens is Tessa Towers was a 6'5" forward. She's played 4 games in 2 years. And she said that there's been some abuse that's been going on and some unfair treatment. Mosley forced her to sign a release granting Mosley the access to therapy sessions or she was going to be kicked off the team. They pressured her into mental health decisions, saying that you need to admit yourself to a mental hospital or you're going to be kicked off the team. If you admit anything to your therapist regarding thoughts of suicide or death, just thoughts of that, you're kicked off the team. And again, if she's saying that she was forced to sign she was forced to have Mosley sign if she was forced to sign a release that granted Mosley the ability to see her medical records and what's being talked about in therapy, the admitting anything close to death, to thoughts of suicide or death, especially if you have mental health problems, is actually a really, really bad thing. Like, that is not good at all. If you have mental health issues, a lot of the times with people like that, they will have thoughts of suicide or death. They will have very, very dark thoughts. And threatening a player that's telling them, hey, if you talk to your therapist about, harming yourself, either fatally or just harming yourself to put you at a hospital or anything like that, if you mention that you're getting kicked off the team, that's very, 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 that's a problem. That's a huge problem because mental health is kind of serious. That's a serious thing. I know people that struggle with mental health and, they do have thoughts like that. I've seen people have thoughts and really want to do something, and it helps to just talk it out. And being able to talk to a therapist without having to worry about your coach that you already think is abusing you mentally or emotionally or whatever the case is, regardless, female, male, whatever, That's serious. That's serious stuff. Then she said she was excluded from team trips. She was forced to undergo autism testing against her will, which if you're having mental health problems and now the team says, hey, we think you're autistic. Well, that would be a pretty big shock at the age of 20, 19, 20, 21, 18 to be like, I don't know, I got to do autism testing. Do I have autism? Like that's something that you would find out maybe as a child, 1, 2, newborn, 3, 4, something like that. So these are pretty big, these are pretty serious allegations here. Then she also claims this. Now this one's is a little shaky. They said she had a 3-strike policy that was unique to her. It was regarding team golf sheets getting turned in on time. It was regarding progress reports getting turned in. It was regarding like shoot around things getting turned in. It just was weird. The 3-strike policy, maybe the coach had something for each individual player on that. I didn't really read too much into that, but she did receive support from 3 different players. One actually cited mental health reasons for leaving the program, Sydney Hilliard. I'm not sure where she went, but she did leave the program, barely played, but left the program. Christina, sorry if I mispronounced these names, Christina Ilu, Imbi Jones, and Saskia Vanderpool, they all shouted out their support on social medias, Instagram, Twitter. Tessa Grade, she played 5 games this year, has been absent from the bench while dealing with an injury. I've heard that she hasn't been traveling with the team either. She stated on Twitter, now that sounds familiar. Glad we got out of that shithole. Last I see, she hasn't officially transferred or left, but it seems like she has if she's been absent from the team bench. So clearly she left either she left the program, left the school, or just said, I'm done with basketball. Like I said, this isn't the first time Mosley's been in the news, and Wisconsin has lost an investigation into this. And when you have serious allegations like this, regardless if it's women's basketball, if it's men's basketball, especially with how recent events have been going on, where we just had that guy driving through a crowd of people in New Orleans that postponed a bowl game. When you have a lot of mass shootings at schools, clearly with people who have mental health issues, I don't think someone stable in their mind is going to go to school to kill a crowd of kids. I don't think people are going to go to a crowd of people at a mall, at a shopping center, at a grocery store and do this type of stuff. So at a time when mental health has been kind of on the forefront for the last couple of years, especially during and after COVID, a player with multiple people supporting that player and agreeing basically that, yeah, we've seen this, we've felt this same energy, we've had this same stuff happen to us. Mosley's going to get fired, and they might not just say, hey, you're fired. They'll probably force her to resign, or she'll resign on her own. But it won't, even a resignation on her own is not going to be, hey, I feel like I've been making mistakes. That's not happening. It's, hey, you should probably resign or we're going to fire you. So just take the high road and resign and just say, differences, I'm going to resign, or we're getting rid of you. And the reason to get rid of you is going to be a lot worse than you saying, I'm going to resign and back away. So she's going to be gone. I can't see how these allegations and threats pressuring into a mental health decision on going to a mental hospital, granting release for Mosley to have access to therapy sessions and everything that you say word for word with your therapist, admitting anything close to thoughts of suicide or death, you're going to get kicked off the team, undergoing autism testing, that's cruel. There's something wrong with you as a head coach. And 18-45 in the Big Ten in 112 games in 4 seasons. You might as well just quit. Just quit, hang it up, go somewhere else to coach, actually, I really hope you don't coach somewhere because you don't deserve to treat players like that ever again. You don't deserve to coach. College coaching and everything under pros is not only about developing players into potential pros, developing players for the future, but college, high school, and under is about developing human beings to have life lessons. Because in my time playing sports, there were a lot of great life lessons I learned. There was a great team environment. You learned how to work together. You learned how to work as a team. You learned how to settle your differences for an end goal, that everyone had the same end goal. You learned a lot working together as a team with sports. Even opponents, you learned how to, you could fight. You could play against them, play your hardest against them and try against them and try to force them to lose and do everything you can to make them to lose. But at the end of the game, you shake their hand and say a good game. You could be best of friends outside of the game, but when it's game time, and I want you to lose if you're playing against me. And there's a lot of great things that you can learn in sports. In college, like Bill Belichick has said on the Pat McAfee show, it's about teaching and training and developing young human beings to be the best human beings that they can be, either in future sports or in their future life after sports, because not a lot of players make it to professional athletics. A lot of women basketball players have nothing basketball-wise to go off of after college. If they could get to international China, no one's going back to Russia, so that's irrelevant. But China, Europe, Africa, Israel, if they're going overseas somewhere, kudos to them. They might make a lot of money, they might not. But the WNBA is not taking a lot of players. They don't have a big league. You better be a star or you're not going to even be known. You're not going to play much. The NBA takes more players with a G League. They have, I'm not sure if there's another league under the G League, but they have G League. They have developmental times. They have a summer league that gives players opportunities. They can go overseas and play all over the place because men's basketball is just more popular. It has more teams, more money available. The WNBA is losing money. There's nothing wrong with the sport. It's basketball. You want to watch basketball, you can watch women, men's, whatever the case is. But college women athletes have a lot of disadvantages after college for sports. So when you are a coach and take a pledge or sign that contract to be a women's basketball coach, you're not there to mentally abuse these players. You're not meant to, I need access to your therapy sessions. Go to a mental hospital. You're having mental health issues? Well, if you're thinking about killing yourself or harming yourself physically or emotionally or, fatally, I'm kicking you off the team. This might be all they have if they have this mental health thing. There's 12 players on a basketball team, maybe 15 in college. I'm not sure how many exact, but you start 5, you have 7, 8 reserves, 12, 13 players. You're kicking them off the team, and this might be all they have. You deserve to get fired. Not a forced resignation. No, fire. Goodbye. You're out of here. And there might be legal repercussions from this. And you're not a good coach. You're not a good coach. So this is going to be a story that we're going to be following. Wisconsin has launched an investigation. I'm pretty sure the NCAA will launch an investigation. That's not good. And I hope everything turns out well for those women. They get their justice. I hope that situation in Wisconsin improves. And, you keep this coach around, you're not going to have any players. 18-45 in 4 seasons. That's going to turn to 8-53. You won't be able to recruit players. Nobody's going to want to come to the program. 1-8 in conference this year. Not going to go anywhere. Time to move on. Not only for performance, but for these allegations. And these allegations are serious enough, especially you have 6 players. You have 6 past or present players that are showing support vocally through Instagram, Twitter, whatever. You have 3 coaches that left completely. One became a head coach at Gardner-Webb, which, it's not wrong. Coaches leave, coaches move on and stuff, but it's kind of alarming that you have a coach that was assistant head coach to you directly, went to a D3 school, dropped off the map completely. One left, just quit coaching, said, I've had enough, left. And then one went to be a head coach at Gardner-Webb, which is fine. But that's your second season. You got 3 assistants leaving. Then the next season you talk about you have diversity of your team. Nobody cares. It's great that you have diversity, but this is not something that you should be like, oh, my team's very diverse. We don't care. That's great. That's fantastic. I like everyone joining together, whatever, but put the best basketball players on the team. I don't care how diverse your team is. I don't want to hear that. I don't need to hear that. We don't need to hear that. We see it. It's fine. If it is very diverse, kudos to you. If it's not, well, can you improve on that? Did you pick the best players that you had available? Putting the best team on the floor is going to be the objective there. But calling players run-of-the-mill white kids, that's okay, whatever. But what is run-of-the-mill? It's just kind of weird comments here, allegations of very serious statute talking about mental health abuse. It's time to go. It's time to leave. So on that note, I don't really want to end it negatively. So we're not. The Badgers, actually, the men's basketball team is playing right now. I'm not sure. Big Ten Network, they're up on Maryland in the second half, 42-39. So that's the positive note I'll end it on. You're watching Wisconsin Whistle on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. Check me out every Wednesday, 6 p.m. Thank you for listening, everyone, and I'll catch you next week. Peace.